Hello and a very warm welcome to ET Studios GCC Giants, coming to you from ET GCC Annual Conclave 2024. I'm Devina Lason, and today we're here to discuss realigning strategies, how parent companies can embrace new technologies to thrive in India. Now, as we all know, Global Capability Centers or GCCs have become pivotal to the Indian economy, contributing over $30 billion in revenue in last year alone and employing nearly 1.5 million professionals. Now, with India's digital economy projected to reach $1 trillion by 2025, the need for parent companies to adapt and leverage new technologies has never been more critical. So join us as we hear insights from industry leaders today who are in fact navigating these transformational times and ensuring that their organizations not only survive but thrive in this dynamic landscape. It's my pleasure to welcome very esteemed guests. We have joining us today Manjula Ramaswamy, VP GCC Head Kyndryl, and Sangeeta Kumar, CEO BNP Paribas. Ladies, welcome to ET Studios. Thank you so much for being here today. Such a pleasure to have you.
Good to be here. Thank you for inviting us, Devina.
Yes, absolutely.
Same here. Thank you. This has been beautiful, the summit, the whole day spent here.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, we're here actually on this panel to talk about a really interesting aspect of GCCs, which is how GCCs in India really adopt and embrace new and evolving technologies, right? And of course, that covers a gamut of aspects, starting from the challenges to the future outlook. So let's maybe go across step by step and understand from each of your perspectives how you see this panning out in India. Sangeeta, let's start with you. Maybe you can help us see on a foundation level, what are some of the biggest challenges that parent companies face when it comes to establishing GCCs in India, and the big challenge really around the tech aspect of really ensuring the newest, most cutting edge and most relevant technology to the organization?
Yeah, especially because I'm from the banking world. And financial institutions have had really a legacy of tech debt, as they call it, right? So, if you read some articles around that, there's almost $1.5 trillion of money that is required to really update this tech in the financial institution space alone. So it's a lot of legacy, and that creates challenges for getting into the cutting edge technology of the world today, which is not true for some of the native startup sort of companies that come in the fintech sector as well. However, I think each bank is approaching it pretty well, and BNP as well. We are looking to continue to modernize our core platforms, going away from obsolete technologies, trying to make sure that the flexibility that is required to now adapt to, the new Gen AI sort of world is important. And if I look at it, I feel Gen AI has a huge role to play in this, because it's going to be able to hopefully, rewrite some of the old technologies as well at lesser cost, because some of the cost aspects of rewriting these core systems is really huge. So while our talent wants to be on the cutting edge of technology, the work that you get today may not be there, and that gap continues to play a role in how we, progress further.
Yes, excellent. Thanks for laying out that picture. Manjula, now your perspective is also very interesting because you work with a cross-section of organizations, GCCs across geographies. So what do you see as some of the biggest challenges that parent companies are facing today?
Yeah, thanks. So like Sangeeta said, right, banks still one example of the banking industry, right, while they want to move and transform themselves, they're taking baby steps, right? And I think that as a technology services company, for us, we have to keep that much of lead time. It takes a lot of discussions and convincing even now for us to reach out to global companies to say, this is good to transform, you're ready to go. Right, and I think that is one of the challenges that we have. Another thing, for global companies like us, we have the same challenges between the global world and the India that's growing, right, with technology. I think there's some insecurity as well, which also comes up with GCCs, right? While the GCCs innovation hub is India, however, their parent companies are still, not sure, can India manage all of this? Can the Indian technology services companies actually service these GCCs out of India? I think that is still something that we are still, struggling with a lot of times. And of course, the skill gap, the talent, we have to upskill ourselves so that we're able to actually give them the business outcome that they want within the short period of time, and the low cost, because budget is a big constraint for all these companies, right? When you are transforming, everybody wants everyone, and we are here to become profitable. So that is a gap that still is there, and somewhere we have to merge in and work together.
Yes, absolutely. No, wonderful. Thanks for that. And, Sangeeta, as you mentioned, of course, there's legacy issues that exist for so many organizations, GCCs in India. What would you say really are the key kind of integration difficulties that GCCs must be facing? Could be dynamics in-house, could be completely shifting the modus operandi of embracing emerging technologies. What do you see as some of the legacy challenges today?
Yeah, so if I reflect on that, I think, from a legacy point of view, today the technologies, like we said, and some of the systems may be a little obsolete. So there is a need to really find the right knowledge on these technologies, and that becomes a challenge to really find that integration. And then on the other side, the expectation is for us to move to cloud and make them really cloud native, which requires a huge amount of flexibility to be created within the tech. And whether organizations like ours are fully ready for it becomes a question, because today the regulators themselves, which are very critical in a banking environment, our risk and compliance partners are not there on the same note, like the business and like the tech team would like to go, right? And I think the first effort has to be to start engaging with them to really get them AI savvy, right? Or AI comfortable, if I can say that. And then we sort of move forward to really enable the banks to evolve and move forward. Having said that, there is a lot of groundwork happening. Banks like us are approaching this with agility, of course, but with a lot of caution as well, because you want to make sure that you are protecting the data, which is a key element in this whole exercise as well. So data protection, cyber security continue to be the challenges as you want to integrate more broadly into the organization.
Absolutely. I mean, data is at the heart, at the end of the day, of every organization. Anything you'd like to add to that, Manjula?
Yeah, I mean, like she said, right, today's 75% of the enterprises, as they invest in newer technologies, they actually want to ensure that they seek help from us for their vulnerabilities, to control the vulnerabilities. And that is very, very key. And that is probably the reason they want to take it slow, because moving to cloud, moving to newer technologies also opens up a lot of threats, right? And that is something that we have to be, as service providers, have to be very, very conscientious and ensure that our customers feel safe. They feel that, they are ready. We did a Kyndryl readiness survey where we had about 3,500 plus business executives that we interviewed, took the survey from, and we used our Kyndryl Bridge insights. So Kyndryl Bridge is one of our open intelligence services system, right, which harnesses AI. And that system we used for insights, and it showed that while 90% of enterprises think that their systems are best in class, but 39% think that they're not future ready. They're not strong for the future, right? And that is actually a very, very interesting report that we saw. And that's the truth.
And that doesn't surprise me at all,
At all,
right?
yes.
I mean, given where we are on this journey, and it will take time, because we are developing talent on one side, we are building trust and confidence in these new technologies as well. And then when I look at it today, there is also this whole cost equation around these technologies as well, right? Where is the business case? Is there a real business case? And then you have the other end of sustainability, which is it's playing its own role there. So today, BNP Paribas, we've invested in a AI platform called Mistral. It's a French startup, and one of their big tenets is as well that they're going to use much lesser resources to really run the AI engines, right? And that's been the big driver for the bank to invest. And we're hoping with that investment, you're also able to control some of the data sensitivities that a bank will have. So various ways of trying to sort of manage this, so that we are definitively looking forward to being the gainers of these new technology.
Absolutely. Where do you sort of see the balance between outsourcing and insourcing the tech functions?
The more from a banking point of view, and as because more and more work is now happening which is IP driven in the Indian GCC ecosystems, the intention is to really continue to be more insourced, right? However, continue to leverage the ecosystem, whether it is startups or whether it is industry bodies or organizations like theirs, to continue to bring that together. But core work would still require to be done in-house.
Yeah,
that would
absolutely,
be,
and in such a highly regulated sector as well.
Yeah, and then you want to continuously develop domain expertise and bring people up that journey from a competency point of view. So I think in-house resources somehow work better. I don't know if that's been your experience as well.
Yeah, a lot of our clients want to do it, but then the other way of looking at it, I think, is also use the build, operate, transform, transfer model, right? Where we help you. You come with the domain, we come with the technology expertise, we help build, help you transform, and then we transfer them to you. Because by then we would have done so much of automation that we wouldn't need so many resources anymore, right? You're all set, we transfer the core skills to you who run your operations while we do other further innovations and continue to help customers.
And that aids the speed to market as well, right?
Yes,
If you do those models. Because fortunately you can access different models in the current GCC environment.
Ultimately, it must be a collaborative effort between the two. Yeah, wonderful. And also, very interestingly, Manjula, what about the sort of cultural and organizational aspect, right? What does it really take for GCCs in India to ensure that the ultimate vision, the company goals of the parent company are kept in alignment here, keeping in mind, of course, the Indian marketplace and all the needs that you see in the Indian market?
Yeah, so I think we've come a long way, right? So we were a spin-off of IBM. So we called ourselves a startup with 100 years of experience, and we did come with some amount of that culture, right? And that culture is about IBM's vision, how it rolled it off to about 1 lakh employees in India. Right? And then when we became Kyndryl, we were 90,000 employees and 30,000 were out of India. And we call it our Kyndryl way, which is actually ensuring that we transform every communication, every vision that the global company has as Kyndryl to India employees. Right, and we have a lot of programs around it, growth accelerator programs. We have the Kyndryl Culture Day. We have the Kyndryl Way that we ensure we communicate to every employee who understands the actual Kyndryl vision and goal. And I'm sure that applies to all the GCCs as well, because they're just another, in some sense, the 30,000 employees that we have, some part of it is also operate like a GCC, because they are the COE, which is supporting rolling out solutions for the global market and for the local market. So the same thing applies to the other GCCs as well, right? This is the same culture, ensure understanding. We serve different markets, so the culture with different markets is again very different, right? The regulatory requirements are different. We have to understand and learn. So we have so many training programs that actually enable each of our employees to understand each of the nuances of every market.
Right.
Cultural sensitivities in different markets. And I think the integration of employees is just so important with our global teams and global partners, because without that you're not really able to deliver the value that is expected, right? And without the cultural coordination and same sort of core values that need to be pushed into the system, I think we will not be one team. And that one team is very important for success of any GCC. So I think we all accelerate and put the accent on cultural engagement, cultural backgrounds, cultural sensitivities, and continue to work on those topics to ensure that those don't become barriers in the success. I mean, there could be other barriers like language, for example. We are a French bank, so and sometimes that can become a constraint, especially when you want to work with your retail banks, right? Because retail bank is quite French oriented. And I'm hoping some of these technologies like Gen AI should help us
yeah.
get past those barriers as well, right?
Yes. On an instant
Basis, right?
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah,
Alright.
and we have a large team in India that supports Japanese customers.
Okay, right, yes.
And they all speak Japanese.
Wow,
you would walk the floor and you would think that,
You're in Tokyo.
these folks are all talking Japanese and all are Indians, right? And that's, one of our success stories as well. Especially during COVID, we had all of them because Japanese customers did not want anybody working from home. They wanted everyone at work. So we had that team actually working all days during COVID from the office.
So it's really sort of processes of training ultimately to get the India vision in line with the parent companies.
Yeah, it's training, but it's also enough engagement and right that is required because just trainings don't help. You have to walk the talk, you have to integrate, you have to enough travel between the two locations, two teams to really create one culture is important, right?
Sure, absolutely. Do you ever face internal resistance to these shifts? Let's kind of gear back to technology, but whether it comes to Gen AI, of course, I mean, no conversation can be had without talking about the impact of Gen AI, but other emerging tech as well. Is there internal resistance to change that you face in GCCs?
So I would say the GCC workforce is a lot more adaptable and young in its, like the average age for us is about 32 years. So this is the folks who are ready for change, are more adaptable. You find some of our global teams not that open to these sort of changes, but yet there is a little bit of resistance from building trust with these technologies as well, because for a bank, that traceability of the decision making, transparency to decision making, what sort of data you are exposing to cyber, become points of where there is a little bit of resistance coming in, but not just from an adaptability point of view. I would also think that somewhere in the back of the minds for the team, there is also whether people will lose their jobs, right? So that could build some sort of a resistance, but given that the ecosystem in India is evolving so well, I don't see people that's thinking of it as a threat, right?
Yeah.
It's no longer that,
Yeah. I think people want to upskill themselves and want to be part of that community, right? And of course, we don't have the problem because we're a technology company, right? So we don't. But yes, across industries, I do see resistance, but not as much when we talk within India, the GCCs in India, right? Maybe their parent companies, right? So when the discussions then move, we try and do workshops with the global company, with the parent company, you do see some of the resistance saying, okay, now what is this going to help us? Or, anyways, a lot of work is moving to India, right? And then this technology company is coming and suggesting something else. So how many of my folks are going to lose their jobs? I think I do sense that. But I think, like she said, Sangeeta mentioned, GCCs in India are very, very adaptive. And I think it's also because of the whole, the way India, India, the way we're moving towards, technology and the progress. Yes.
That is a differentiator for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Fascinating. Wow, wonderful. Ladies, thank you so much for all your insight. Before we wrap up, could you leave our viewers today with one sort of key takeaway and a future outlook when it comes to GCCs in India and the rapid pace of tech adoption in this country?
So we're definitely looking to get more mature and more value add from the GCCs. Gen AI is here to stay. It'll be a slow process, but slow and cautious is the way for us for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I think GCC is the space to be in where the actual tech innovation is happening. I think that's the future, and we want to move up that scale, right? Today we are doing tech augmentation. I think we want to move higher up and see what else can we do with innovation. What else can we do with the research and development that's happening for the parent companies? Breakthrough research that can happen out of India. I think that's something that everyone should look forward to.
Wonderful. Exciting times. Lots to look forward to.
Yes.
Ladies, thank you so much. Such a pleasure to have you on ET Studios. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
All right, thank you for joining us in this insightful discussion on how GCCs can realign strategies to leverage new technologies and thrive in India. We hope you gained valuable perspective from our panel of experts. Do stay tuned for more in-depth conversations on ET Studios GCC Giants. Until next time, many thanks for watching.